like to call this meeting to order. Clerk of the board, please call the roll.
Freeholder Carter.
Present.
Freeholder Estrada.
Present.
Freeholder Hudak.
Here.
Freeholder Jallo.
Here.
Freeholder Kowalski.
Here.
Freeholder Mirabella.
Present.
Freeholder Wright.
Present.
Freeholder Vice Chairman Granados.
Present.
And Chairman Bergen.
Present.
Chairman, you have 9 freeholders present.
Thank you. Would you please lead us in the prayer and salute to the flag?
Humbly we ask God, the giver of peace and the lover of charity, to give the entire family of nations true agreement with his will, and to grant the light of his spirit on all who work for justice and peace. Amen.
Amen.
Pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Clerk of the board, will you please read the notice of compliance with the Open Public Meetings Act?
The chair wishes to announce that pursuant to the requirements of New Jersey statutes annotated, Title 10, Chapter 4, Section 10 of the Open Public Meetings Act, adequate notice of this meeting of the Board of Chosen Freeholders of the County of Union has been given by mailing the annual meeting schedule for the year 2016, along with periodic changes necessitated by circumstances, to the newspapers circulating within the County of Union who are designated to receive such notice, and by posting the annual meeting schedule for the year 2016 in the Administration Building, and further by filing the annual meeting schedule for the year 2016 with the office of the County Clerk.
Thank you. Next week at our regular meeting, we will adopt communication. Now we'll move on to proposed resolutions. First, we have the Office of Union County Prosecutor, First Assistant Prosecutor Tim Eisenhower.
Good evening, Chairman, members of the board. The prosecutor's office has one resolution on for your consideration. I'll be happy to take any questions you may have.
Do I have any questions from the board? Seeing none, thank you.
Have a good evening. Thank you.
We have our occasional visit from the Board of Election, Dennis Kovitz, the Administrator.
Good evening, Chairman Bergen, freeholders. The Board of Elections has 4 resolutions on the agenda this evening. I'd be happy to answer any questions if I can.
Do I have any questions for Mr. Kovitz? Yes, Vice Chairman.
Thank you, Chairman. In reference to number 4, how many individuals bid on that contract?
How many?
Were there multiple people going for that contract?
No, we went out for the RFQs last year for a 2-year.
Okay.
So they were the
Sticking
only
with
ones.
Same one. Only one last year, right?
Yes.
Thank you. Anyone else? Yes, Freeholder Estrada.
Good evening, sir. How are you?
Good.
Good. On number 1, I guess Dominion Voting took over Sequoia Company. Is that now?
Many years ago, yes.
Many years ago. So, as you know, there was so much concern over the last elections in terms of potential people getting into machines and results and all that other stuff. I know that one of the things that you have always insisted in terms of the services that Dominion Voting System provides is the integrity in terms of elections. And I know that you listen to all the recounts in the Midwest that are there actually counting papers rather than our system that we use. So if you can, go into a little more detail about how we protect our system.
Okay, well, with the voting machines, there is nothing at all that is on the internet. So even the computers that we use to program the machines, even when it's not election time, those computers are never at all on the internet. So the only way to hack our machines, unlike other states that have everything on the internet, they would literally have to get to the back of the machine. So it
Don't tell everybody how to do it, Dennis.
I'm saying it's almost impossible. What I'm saying is we have security seals on there that are serial numbered. Everything is recorded, sent to the state, on which machine, which has which numbers. We check it when it comes back. So the only way we can get the actual chip out of the machine, which is virtually impossible.
I'm very confident of the work that you guys do every day, and I know how different it is. And when I see some of the newscasters talking about some of their system, it's amazing. I said,
We were more worried about the state voter registration system, so we watched every bit of that. They have us changing our password now every 3 months. we also watched the numbers. So we knew if we had put on 500 registrations, our numbers better go up by 500. And so each county was watching how much they were inputting and taking out to make sure that none of the numbers changed, because that's the only way they could have hacked anything, was to delete a whole bunch of voters. But again, as most of you know, our numbers went tremendously up. We're over 329,000 registered voters for the first time in history.
Any other questions? No? Thank you. We have Department of Administrative Services, Director Michael Yuska.
Good evening, freeholders. The department has 6 resolutions for your consideration. I'd be happy to answer any questions.
Yes, Freeholder Jala.
Yes, I have a question with regard to number 1. I know that the last 2 people who were in your position discussed the possibility of extending this opportunity to other individuals who obtain other masters that degrees that are that I suppose advance their knowledge in their specific field. I note that these programs are only for Kane and only for a specific program. Is there any thought given to that? Is there anything on the horizon or?
Through you, Mr. Chair, I will have to pick up that mantle and I will get right back to you on it.
Very good, thank you.
Any other questions? Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Department of Corrections, Director Charles.
Good evening, Mr. Chairman, members of the board. Department of Corrections has 5 resolutions, and I'll be happy to answer any questions.
Any questions, freeholders? Seeing none, thank you.
Great, thank you.
Department of Economic Development, Director Amy Wagner.
Good evening. The Department of Economic Development has 5 resolutions for your consideration, and I'd be happy to answer any questions you may have.
Freeholder Jala.
Can you explain number 1? Is there a particular vendor involved or anticipated?
No, it's a network that the Union County College has already built that they allow us to use at no charge. This is the 3rd 5-year contract that we've entered into at no cost. And
So
interesting,
they're giving it to us for free?
they're giving it to us for
No
free.
further questions.
Okay.
Vice Chairman Granados.
Thank you, Chairman. In reference to number 2, how's the success rate been of the Family Success Centers?
So in the Rahway Center, 465 services have been offered. They might not be unique clients, but they have been unique services. And 954 in the Elizabeth Center.
That's great. Thank you. Thank you, Chairman.
Yes, Freeholder Estrada.
Yes, at number 3, can you go into details of the outcome of this year's 2016 performance?
Absolutely. They wrote 5 grants for us. We received a 30,000 plus grant for Zika, to buy equipment to help combat the Zika situation. We're still waiting on decisions on 2 grants. One of them was an RFP to potentially participate with the ICE program, where we would use jail facilities that aren't currently being used, would be modified and hold. We'd work with the federal government, and they would be actually to hold immigration detainees. So we've submitted that. We're waiting to hear back on the next phase of that. And another one that they had written for us was for a bariatric ambulance that ultimately was not funded. They have done a ton of research for us as well on numerous projects. Bryant Park, when the Conservancy came in, they've been searching for ways that we can dredge the Bryant Park Pond. They have done a lot of research on some of the initiatives that we're considering for next year. So they really do provide an invaluable service.
So net this year, how much are we actually attending? You said $5,000 for the Seeker grant?
No, that was over 30,000, and our contract with them last year was not for the full year. It was only for 9 months, so we paid them $27,000. So we're ahead of the game a bit.
And in terms of the time frame involved in the other items that you said they have done, what kind of time frame are you looking at?
Okay. The Royd grant is expected any day. In fact, I called this morning to find out because they keep getting updates and it's not out, but we expect it any day now. The The ICE situation, actually Director Guzzo might know more about that because that came out of Human Services. No decisions have come out as far as how they're going to proceed with that. The Trails Grant, which is also pending, is due sometime in the winter of 2017.
Okay, thank you.
Freeholder card.
In reference to the We Are One New Jersey project, can you tell me during that time frame approximately how many families or anything to more specific numbers?
Absolutely.
Service?
So 516 people have sought service through November 30th of this year. 210 of those are already citizens. The balance are in our various stages of, 474 of the 516 have actually sought to become citizens. So the balance are in various stages. So we have 210 that I said were citizens, 76 are waiting for their fingerprints. 3 have interviews later at some point this month. This was after the November 30th deadline. 172 are waiting for their interviews, and that can take anywhere from 6 months to 18 months to schedule it, depending on what happens with the process. 8 of them have their process pending, and 5 people actually failed but are reapplying, and they're in different situations. 2 have to start all over, and 3 just have to retake the test. So it's been really incredibly successful.
Thank you.
Freeholder Mirabella.
That was going to be my question, Mr. Chairman.
Okay. Anyone else? Thank you.
Thank you.
Department of Engineering, Director Graziano.
Good evening, Chairman, Freeholders. The department has 6 resolutions on tonight for your consideration, and I'll try and answer any questions you have.
Any questions from the board? Thank you, Director.
Thank you, Chairman.
Seeing none. Department of Finance, Director Taylor.
Good evening, Chairman and members of the board. The Department of Finance has 5 resolutions for your consideration this evening, and I'd be happy to answer any questions.
Any questions from the board? No? Thank you. Department of Human Services, Director Guzzo.
Mr. Chairman and members of the board, the department has 14 resolutions on your printed agenda, and with your indulgence, I'd like to add 2 more. And I'd be happy to answer any questions you have at this time.
Why don't you just give us a brief notation on what the 2 add-ons are, and then we can take questions.
Yes, Mr. Chairman. The first one is to enter into a new lease agreement for Plainfield Probation, which is obviously in Plainfield. We did an RFP in June. It's come back. We are recommending it'll be a term of 10 years with 2 5-year blocks to renew. It's 3% each year, which is consistent with the previous lease, which was 10 years. It's the same location with the same landlord. The landlord's been very attentive. We get very few complaints about anything going wrong within that area. This is on Front Street almost across from the senior center, those of you familiar with the area. So we're recommending that we enter into that agreement. As you know, that we're responsible for those lease agreements for the state. So that's number 1. The backup will be to you early next week. The attorneys out of Bob's office, as well as the attorney for the landlord, are just ironing out the final details. The second one would be to recommend entering into an agreement under a state contract for the inmate phone system. If you recall, we've had discussions about this in the past. There is a state contract. There is 1 vendor on that. It's GTL. Point of reference, out of the 19 remaining jails in the state, 14 of those jails are under that state contract at this time. And in essence, what it does is, under the month-to-month agreement that we've been under, it's approximately 25 cents per minute for inmates or their families to be able to use the phone for various phone calls. This actually will drop that rate down to 4 cents. So we're recommending that as of January, we enter into that agreement. So those are the two that you'll get the backup on is early next week and have them for your consideration for next week's meeting.
Any questions on the now pending 16 resolutions? Yes. Freeholder Estrada.
Okay, at number 5, Frank, on the issue of the Cornerstone Behavioral Health Hospital. Now, this is a proposed lease agreement for this year, 2017, with a 2% increase. What is our present, how much are we paying for the use of space there?
Just bear with me one second. I've got a lot of papers here tonight. It's $4 million.
Well, that, but space alone, I believe, is somewhere in the area of a little over $400,000.
$400,000, somewhere around
In
there.
addition, that lease covers various services that are provided by Cornerstone.
What I was getting at, do you have it broken down by the use of square footage of the facility, and then how much is the service? Because you couldn't be getting the proper service that you require there, because if it's anything like they run their operation, I doubt that you have clean floors and people reacting to your needs in terms of spills and things of that effect.
Through you, Mr. Chairman, admittedly, Freeholder, we've had issues relative to the agreement. We've met on a continuing basis over the past year plus to ensure that they come in compliance with the lease and those services that they're providing, the ancillary, things like housekeeping, dietary, and those things I believe that are incorporated into what you're mentioning. While the services are at times not what we want them to be, nor the patients that are under our care, they do comply and they do adjust. I think that we're treated a little bit differently, if I may, than the rest of the hospital, which I know you're very familiar with. And I think it's because we have a lease agreement, unlike what happens in the rest of the hospital proper. And I think they're a little bit more attentive to what our needs are because there's something that holds them to that as opposed to what happens perhaps in the rest of the hospital.
Okay. How long is this lease agreement with them for?
10 years. It's a 10-year agreement, and this would be, I believe, the 3rd year. I've checked that to make sure.
All right. So we have 10 years that we must remain there then?
Well, no, not necessarily. I mean, there is a within the lease that.
No?
I'm sorry, what?
Wasn't there like an out?
Well, there's an out for them, and for us. I mean, it's contingent upon a lot of things that may occur. They do have the ability with notice, if they decide, as an example, that they want to assume the responsibility of operating the mental health piece. They do have there's a clause within it. I think it's 60 days notice, and I'll check it to make sure I'm accurate and give it back to you before the end of the week, or next week rather. So they can notice us, and they can take it over if they so desire, yes.
Freeholder Kowalski.
Yes, Director, on number 11, the paratransit bus, are these to be used for just in general for paratransit, or they're not assigned to any particular route?
Through you again, Mr. Chairman. Vijay, these are vehicles that we would normally purchase. As you know, we do, as vehicles run out and they cost us more to keep in service, we purchase new ones. In this particular instance, we had leftover capital money from previous years that we decided to use now and didn't request any in our new capital for this year. So they're actually replacement for existing vehicles that have just served their lifespan at this point.
Thank you.
Yes, Vice Chairman Granato.
Thank you, Chairman. Reference number 10, what are some of the organizations that are part of the Community Service Block Grant, and exactly explaining on community programming?
The ARC of Union County, Community Access Unlimited, Family Promise, Jewish Family Services, Plainfield Y, Gateway Family, Salvation Army of Elizabeth, and Salvation Army of Plainfield, Trinitas Regional Medical Center. Those are a good portion of the agencies that are covered under CSBG. And I'm sorry, Freeholder, what was the second part to that question?
What are some of the services they provide? It says community programming.
Well, they provide support services, rental assistance, wraparound services for case management, for food. CSBG covers a wide range of things for those constituents that are eligible under that federal piece.
Thanks, sir.
Any other questions? Thank you, Director.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Department of Parks and Recreation, Armando Sanchez, Director of Golf Operations.
Good evening, freeholders. Through you, Mr. Chairman, I'll answer any questions that freeholders may have on our one resolution.
Any questions from the board?
Just one question.
Yes. Freeholder Mirabella.
So this is for next year, this is the budgeted amount.
Yes.
What was the 2016 budget?
The 2016 that was adopted was 4.3 million, and we are actually going to come in at 4.2 million in our operating expenses. So we're going to come in about 100,000 less than what we had adopted from last year.
Okay,
Oh,
so
this
you're
year.
anticipating some increase in operating
For next year, we're definitely going to see some increase in our operating costs because we are bringing in a temporary trailer, double wide, for Ashbrook. As you know, we're going to be going to construction,
Right.
and that's going to increase our operational costs at Ashbrook because we actually lease the trailer. We do not own it, so that's a significant amount of cost.
And is that the reason for the increased price?
That, and as well as we're going to do several, in-house, we're going to do several projects at both golf courses, some upgrades on our maintenance facilities, so we're going to do that in-house as well.
All right. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Anyone else? Thank you, Director. Office of the County Council, Robert Barry.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. The Office of the County Council has one item on this evening's agenda, and I'd be happy to answer any questions the board may have.
Any questions from the board? Seeing none, thank you. Office of the County Manager Fiala.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. The Office of the County Manager has 3 resolutions on for your consideration, and I'll attempt to answer any questions you may have.
Any questions from the freeholders? None, thank you. That brings us to close of our departmental resolutions. Do any freeholders have any additional resolutions to add or any friendly amendments to request? Seeing none, Clerk of the Board, please note that I will have a couple of additional resolutions, some condolence resolutions, some laudatories, and also a board appointment resolution.
Duly noted.
Okay, that closes that section. We do have a need to go into executive session tonight, and I would ask that the County Council please read the statement concerning that.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Chairman. Pursuant to the Open Public Meetings Act, the public body may go into executive session for the purposes of discussing certain enumerated subjects. This board now wishes to go into executive session for the purpose of discussing attorney-client privilege communications and discussions of issues relative to ongoing negotiations and potential agreement with Zurich American Insurance Company relating to the Union County Family Courthouse. The minutes of the executive session shall be separated from the minutes of the open public session. The minutes of the executive session, redacted as appropriate and necessary, will be available in approximately 30 days. Clerk to the board shall retain the original minutes until such time as confidential limitations have been removed, at which time they shall be made available. Upon the affirmative vote of a majority of the members present, the board may enter into executive session. Given this is an agenda meeting, no formal action will be taken on the matters discussed.
Thank you. Is there a motion to go into executive?
So moved, Mr. Chairman.
Second. Moved by Freeholder Mirabella, seconded by Freeholder Hudak. Clerk of the Board, please call the roll.
Freeholder Carter.
Yes.
Freeholder Estrada.
Yes.
Freeholder Hudak.
Aye.
Freeholder Jallo.
Aye.
Freeholder Kowalski.
Yes.
Freeholder Mirabella.
Aye.
Freeholder Wright.
Yes.
Freeholder Vice Chairman Granados.
Aye.
And Freeholder Chairman Bergen.
Yes.
Chairman, you have 9 votes in the affirmative.
Thank you. We're now in executive session. Okay. May I please have a motion to return from executive?
So moved, Mr. Chairman.
Is there a second?
Second.
Moved by Freeholder Mirabella, seconded by Freeholder Carter. Please call the roll.
Freeholder Carter.
Yes.
Freeholder Estrada.
Yes.
Freeholder Hudak.
Aye.
Freeholder Jallo.
Aye.
Freeholder Kowalski.
Yes.
Freeholder Mirabella.
Aye.
Freeholder Wright.
Yes.
Vice Chairman Granados.
Aye.
And Chairman Bergen.
Yes.
Chairman, you have 9 votes in the affirmative.
Thank you. County Council, is there anything to announce as a result of our executive session?
Nothing for tonight, Mr. Chairman. Thank you.
Thank you. May I have a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Is there a
Second.
second? All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you all. Have a good evening. Aye.